Hello student, let's continue with our unit number 3 and lecture number 7. Now last time we have discussed about the fourth phase of compiler, that was the intermediate code generation, and in that already we have seen the what exactly is the intermediate code and different types of the intermediate code, and one of the type, that is the three address code, we have discussed in details, and also the representation of three address code also we have discussed in details. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the next phase of compiler, that is the code optimization techniques. Okay, now as all of you are very much familiar with this diagram, that this is our front end of compiler. Okay, so front end generated the output as here intermediate code, and this is the back end of our compiler. So in the back end, two important phases we have to discuss: the machine independent code optimization and the code generator. So in today's lecture, we will discuss about the machine independent code optimization. So this figure already you are very much aware that the compiler is nothing but the uh, process of compilation is being done by the compiler, which is nothing but consist of the various sequence of phases. And phases also the different stages in processing of particular source program into the machine program. And here in this figure also you can see each phase take the input from its previous stage and give that as an output to the next phase of compiler. So likewise, these already we have seen number of times. Lexical analyzer generate token, give it to the syntax analyzer. Likewise, okay. And we have reached up to the fourth phase, that is the intermediate code generation. And intermediate code generation also last time we have discussed. We generate the intermediate code in the form of the three address code and give it to the next phase of compiler, that is the code optimization, which we are going to discuss. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed about the what is exactly is the intermediate code, and why it is required, and different types of generating the intermediate code. Now in the types of the intermediate code, we have discussed the three address code as the main type of the intermediate code, and also we have discussed regarding the different ways of representation of three address code. So why that particular code is considered the three address code? Because it consists of the three main field. It is consists of the only at most three operands and operator. That is the reason, as it is consist of the at most three operands, that is the reason it is considered as a three address code. Now its representation types we have discussed, like quadruple, triple, and the indirect. So the quadruple consists of the four main fields, and quadruple also one of the way of representing the three address code in another form. And quadruple consists of the four field, like the operator, two operands, and the result field. So in the quadruple, we are making the utilization of temporary variables to store the result. Okay. Then we have seen the triple. Now in case of the triple, the what was the drawback of quadruple that is being avoided? Like in the quadruple, we have make utilization of multiple temporary variables. So in the triple, we avoid the utilization of temporary variables, and instead of that, we make the utilization of reference to that temporary variable. Okay, reference in the form of the position number. And in the indirect triple also, we make some more changes in the representation of three address code. Like instead of referring to the particular uh, result by the position numbers, we make the utilization of one extra data structure as an array list, and that array list we make the utilization of pointers. That pointers will point to the different position reference. Okay, so pointer is quite faster as compared to the rest of the things. That is the reason, in order to access the that different result, the particular what you can say, the indirect triple is considered as the most beneficial, and it is mostly utilized. Okay, and now up till we have reached to the this part. Okay, and today onwards we will focus on the back end of the compiler. That is nothing but our first, in that back end of compiler we discuss about the machine independent code optimization, and then we'll discuss about the code generation. Okay, so code optimization can be done at the two levels. One level is nothing but the code optimization can be done before the code generation. Okay, before the code generation, in the sense before the machine code will get generated. Okay, and another kind of optimization can also be done, that is after the code generation, that is called as a machine dependent code optimization. Now, why this is being referred here as a machine independent code optimization and here machine dependent code optimization? So there is a simple reason behind that. While we optimize this code before the code generation, then that time we don't have to think about anything about the configuration of machine, structure of the machine, and instruction set of the machine, kind of register being utilized for the machine, etc. Okay, because this is the code being generated only on the basis of intermediate code generator, only on the basis of intermediate code generator. Okay, and that is the reason there is a nothing to be do with the machine. That is the reason here the machine independent code optimization is being referred here. Now here, if required, the code optimization can be performed after the code generation, and when the code optimization get performed after the code generation, that time there is a lot of thing has to be considered related with the machine, like what kind of machine is that, means its configuration, 32-bit, 64-bit kind of things, instruction set utilized for that particular machine, register, because code generation totally depends on the that particular respective machine and its kind of instruction set, register being available for that machine. And that is the reason this is a code which is generated after the optimization which is done after the code generation, that is called as a machine dependent optimization. Okay, so mostly these are two things being get done in the back end, that is the machine independent code optimization, and second thing that is get done is the code generation. So let's see the fifth phase of compiler, that is nothing but our code optimization, that is the independent machine independent code optimization. So every time in the, just like we are discussing the phases, every time we are just making the changes in the particular these diagrams, like we have started from the lexical analysis to the syntax analysis or parser to the semantic analyzer and intermediate code generation, and now here this is the thing we have to discuss today, that is the machine independent code optimization. As you can easily see here, machine independent code optimization receive the input from the previous phase, that is the intermediate code generator, and intermediate code generator send this particular IC to the code optimizer. Okay, and then in the code optimizer, if it is required, the code optimization get performed. Okay, now what exactly is the code optimization, what are its techniques, with example, that all the things we are going to discuss here. Just you have to keep in mind, the code optimizer take the input from the previous phase, that is the intermediate code generator, and that input is considered as the intermediate code. Okay, now what exactly happened in the machine independent code optimization phase? Now whatever the intermediate code is being generated, okay, whatever the intermediate code being generated, only some changes are being done in that intermediate code, and that changes are being done without any that changes has to be done without affecting the final result. Means what, if you have written the program for to do the addition of 2 plus 3 and its result is coming as a 5, okay, this is being done up to the intermediate code generation, and when that program is given as an input to the machine independent code optimizer, so code optimizer will do the changes in this program which you have written for the 2 plus 3, and that changes should be such a way that the result should come 5 only. The result should not be get affected because of the changes being done in the code optimization phase. Then what kind of changes can be happen in the code optimization phase? So changes happen so that, now changes happen only for the two important reasons. First is how your code can be executed within a less amount of time. Means for the purpose of time efficiency, to improve the time efficiency, the changes can be done in the intermediate code. Okay, that is the first reason why the code optimization is done. For what purpose? How your code can be executed within a less amount of time, means time for the purpose of time efficiency. And second reason for doing the code optimization is that how the space required for your code can be reduced, means space efficiency purpose. Means what? Space efficiency purpose. Okay. So for these two purpose, the code optimization is done on the intermediate code. Okay. Now, does the code optimization happens compulsory every time? No. It depends. It depends on whether the code optimization is required there, whether the code optimization can be done or not. So that is the thing I have mentioned here in this phase, that is the code optimization phase. The compiler try to improve the intermediate code so that smaller and the faster running machine code can be derived. Means whatever the intermediate code has been received from the previous phase, the code optimizer try to make the changes in that code. Now changes for what purpose? So that your code can be get execute faster, and that changes can be done without affecting the final result of your program. If you are written the program to find out the even and odd numbers, even after doing the code optimization, that program should be able to do that task of finding the even and odd numbers. Only which changes will be done in the form of how the speed of the program can be improved, how the space required for the program can be reduced. Only for that purpose, the code optimization is done. Okay. So I have written here the code optimization is technique of producing the code that can be faster or take the less space or both. So only reason behind doing the code optimization is that how your code can be more faster and how your program can take the less space. Okay. So code optimization that will take place before the final code generation. Okay. That will not take into the account any machine properties like instruction set and the register. That already I told you. Why this is called the machine independent code optimization? Because this code optimization is happening before the final code generation. Means before the machine code will generate. Still we have to see the machine code generation. Okay. So before that, if the code optimization is happening, then it is called as the machine independent code optimization, because it doesn't take into the consideration while doing the code optimization any machine properties like what are the instruction set of that machine, what are the register are there, etc, etc. It only consider the whatever the intermediate code generated, and only on the basis of that it will generate, it will do the code optimization. Okay. So you can describe the code optimization in this way also. Code optimization is a technique where compiler can carry out the several transformation of a program at an intermediate level without changing its meaning. Means code optimization is a one particular technique where which is being performed by the compiler, and what it does, compiler do the different or the several transformation or changes on your program, which is intermediate code program, and that changes being done without changing the final meaning of the program. That is called as a code optimization. Okay, so you can describe the code optimization in a different way, like it is a technique where the compiler make the rearrangement of the code without affecting the final meaning of the program or without affecting the final output of the program. So that is the task of code optimization. Okay. Now here you can see here I have shown the code optimization. Now code optimization will generate the optimized code, and that will be given as an input to the next phase of compiler. So that will be the our last phase, that is the code generation. Okay, that we'll see in the next lecture. Now, so you understand, I hope you understood what exactly mean by the code optimization. So code optimization or rearrangement of the code can be done in the following ways, or there are the different ways of doing the code optimization. Okay, we are going to see the techniques of code optimization also. So here I have mentioned the code optimization is achieved in following ways. Now, how the code optimization can be achieved and what are the techniques to achieve the code optimization, that we'll see next. But here just see which are the different ways of achieving the code optimization. One of the important way is what? Elimination of redundancy. What? Elimination of redundancy, or removing the redundancy from your code. Now redundancy means what? I hope all of you know redundancy means the repetition of same information within a program, or repetition of same code within your program. Understood? So that is called as a redundancy. The code which is available in the program, which is even if it is, even if it would have not been available, then also our program will work well. That particular thing is called as a redundant code, or you can simply consider elimination of redundant code. Redundant code in the sense what? Some repeated code which is not required in the program. Okay, so here I have mentioned redundancy means repetition of same meaningful words in the sense code in your program or in the particular program instruction. So that is considered as a one of the way, that is the elimination of redundancy, removing the unwanted code from your program or redundant code or repeated code from your program. Second important way is computation in a program are rearranged or rewritten to make it run faster. Means we can rearrange the code or we can make some modification in the code in such a way that that program will run faster without affecting the final output of the program. So in this different way, two important ways the code optimization can achieve. One is nothing but what? Now we are going to apply the code optimization on the intermediate code. So in the intermediate code, you have to see, is there any redundancy in your intermediate code? Is there something code is present in your intermediate code which is considered as a repeated code or redundant code? Understood. Also in the intermediate code, you have to see, can you do some changes in that intermediate code so that your program can run faster? Understood. So this thing has to be observed in your intermediate code, and then the code optimization has to be performed. Okay. Now every in the each phase we have discussed this example. Okay. Now for this example, we have received the output from the fourth phase of compiler. That in the fourth phase is our intermediate code generation, and from the intermediate code generation we have received this output. We have received this output for this expression. Okay. From which phase? Fourth phase of compiler. Now this is your intermediate code for this expression. Now how the code optimization can be performed on this particular fragment of code? So this is here I have written, this is the unoptimized intermediate code, means which can be optimized, means something which is present in this fragment of code which can be get changed without affecting the final output of the program, or some redundant code might be present in this program. Okay, let's see. Now you can see, and for this unoptimized intermediate code, this is the optimized intermediate code. Okay, for this unoptimized intermediate code, this is the optimized intermediate code. Okay, now why we are calling this unoptimized intermediate code and why we are calling this as an optimized intermediate code? Let's see. Now in this program, if you see this first intermediate code instruction, okay, that is t1 equal to into float 50. Okay, means this instruction is doing what? Converting the 50 into the 50.0. But this conversion of 50 of 50.0 already done in the third phase of compiler. Okay, this conversion of 50 into the 50.0 already done in the third phase of compiler. That is our semantic analyzer. Okay, if you see that lecture, you can see there the conversion of 50 conversion of 50 into the 50.0 is done, is already being done in the third phase of compiler, that is the semantic analyzer. So still the in the intermediate code also we are writing the instruction to do that. So there is a no need of this instruction in the intermediate code. Understood. And that is the reason this instruction or this code is considered as a redundant code. Which code? This first instruction code. Understood. So this can be eliminated. Understood. The same thing I have mentioned here. In an optimized intermediate code, there is a no need to write the expression t1 equal to into float 50. Sorry, t1 equal to into float 50, because 50 as an integer is already converted into the float during the semantic analysis phase of compiler. Okay, so that repeated operation get avoided or removed in code optimization, and we can get the improvement in the previous code. So that from this all discussion, we remove this intermediate code instruction. Okay, and directly we will write t1 equal to id3 into 50.0. Now what is the id3? id3 is nothing but your b. id3 is nothing but what? Your b. And that is the reason here you get the this first optimized IC as a t1 equal to id3 into 50.0, because this 50 of conversion of 50 into the 50.0 already done. That is the reason we write here t1 equal to id3 into 50.0. The same instruction you can also write in this way, t1 equal to b into 50.0. That is also correct, no problem. Okay, now then what is the next? Now because of these things we have done, because of this instruction we have written already, we have got the intermediate code for these whole things. Understood. So now we also avoid to write these two instruction also. How? Let's see. So we can, from this we can directly write id1 equal to id2 plus t1. What? id1 equal to id2 plus t1. You can write this instruction directly like this also, like x is equal to a plus t1 also, meaning is same. Means for these three instruction, okay, for this sorry, this let me tell you, for this two instruction you write only one instruction here, that is correct. T1 equal to id3 into 50. So meaning of these two instruction is like this only. Understood? And for these two instruction we can write only the single instruction, id1 equal to id2 plus t1, and its meaning is same like this two instruction. Understood? So we have converted these four intermediate code instruction into the two instruction only. Means what is get saved here? Definitely the space gets saved. And if the space gets only the, now processing of this two instruction has to be done instead of four instruction. So time requirement for the processing and the execution will also be get saved. So space efficiency improve, time efficiency improve, and that is nothing but the called as a concept of code optimization. That is what making the changes within a original code by making some changes or by eliminating the redundancy from the code or by doing the rearrangement in the code, whatever code we get, that code is called as a optimized intermediate code. Understood? If you see the meaning of this particular fragment of code and meaning of this fragment of code is exactly same, only this three address code we have converted into some another form, but this bus 3 address code is better as compared with this in the form of space efficiency and in the form of the time efficiency. The meaning of both of is same. Understood? So that is the concept of code optimization, making the changes within a program without affecting the final meaning of the program. That is called as a code optimization. Okay, that is called as what? The code optimization. Okay, now there are the different ways of doing the code optimization on which the question usually asks. There are the different code optimization techniques are available. So our next point is nothing but the discussion regarding the different phases of the code optimization, or sorry, different techniques of the code optimization. Okay, so here I have mentioned a compiler can carry out the several transformation of a program, several transformation in the sense compiler can do the several changes in the program at intermediate code level. Means the compiler can perform the changes in the intermediate code without changing its meaning. Okay, without changing its meaning. Now in order to do that, these are the different techniques are available. Okay, in order to do that, these are the different techniques are available. Okay, and in detail we will discuss about this technique with the example. Like we have the uh, uh, first technique, compile time evaluation, which again consists of the two technique, constant folding and the constant propagation. Then we have the dead code elimination, code movement, strength reduction, and the common sub expression elimination. These are the important techniques in case of the code optimization. Okay, so let's see the techniques in that first technique, compile time evaluation. Now, what is the meaning of compile time evaluation? Or the its meaning is straightforward, that whatever the computation or evaluation that can be done at the compile time only, that has to be done at the compile time only, and that is being done by the compiler itself without doing that evaluation at the runtime. If there is some code present in your program which code can be computed at the compilation time only, doing that particular computation, that is called as a compile time evaluation without putting the extra burden during the runtime. Okay, so in that first technique we have the constant folding. Okay, what is the, that is the constant folding. Now instead of discussing this theory part, we'll directly discuss the example, then we come to the theory part. For example, in your program you have written this instruction. That instruction is what? Circumference of circle equal to 22 by 7 into the diameter. Okay, now in this instruction, can we do the compile time evaluation? Is it possible to do the compile time evaluation of this instruction? Now this instruction will be get execute when we'll run that. But during the compile time only also, is it possible to do the evaluation? Yes, you can do the evaluation of this particular code. Like you can do the evaluation of this particular thing 22 by 7. There is a no need to do the processing of this 22 by 7 at the runtime. It is possible to do the computation of this during the compile time only. Understood? So that is called as a constant folding. Understood? So this is the constant term 22 by 7. Understood? Its result will be 3.14. So doing the computation of these kind of things at the compile time only, that is called as a constant folding, and that is also being referred as a compile time evaluation. Here same thing I have mentioned. As the name suggests, it involves folding the constant, means evaluating the constant during the compile time only. The expression that contain the operands having the constant value at the compile time are evaluated. Means in your expression there are the certain operand having the constant values, then that get evaluated at the compile time. Okay. Those expression are then replaced with their respective results. Understood? And now whatever the result of this evaluation, that is the third result will be the 3.14. So instead of 22 by 7, here 3.14 will be get replaced. What? 3.14. So no need to do the computation at the runtime for this, because this computation is already being happening at the compile time, and that is the reason it is called as a constant folding, and that is being referred as a compile time evaluation. So this technique evaluate the expression 22 by 7 at compile time. This expression then replace with its result, that is the 3.14. Now what it save? This save the time at the runtime. Okay, what it save? This save the time at the runtime, because in the runtime it might happen this 22 by 7, maybe you compute it 10 times. Understood? It depends on your program. In your program you may need it to compute it 10 times, but once it is being computed at the compile time and replace it with the 3.14, there is a no need to compute this 22 by 7 10 times during the runtime. And if it is not required, then definitely the runtime will be get save, your program will be get executed faster. And that is, this is nothing but the code as what? One of the technique of code optimization. You are making your code to run more faster as compared with your previous code without affecting the final meaning of the program. And this is the first technique in that is under the category of compile time evaluation, and that is called as what? The constant folding. Okay, I hope all of you are understood this. Then under the compile time evaluation, we have the second technique, that is the constant propagation. What? Constant propagation. Okay, now let's see the example, then we put to the theory. Now what is the constant propagation? See, consider this is the fragment of code in your program. You have written the one variable equal to, that is a pi equal to 3.14. You have one variable you have declared with the radius equal to 10, and below somewhere you have written the formula area of circle equal to pi into radius. Now is it possible to do the evaluation of these particular terms at the compile time only? Is it possible? Yes, because you know the value of pi, you know the value of radius. So you can, it is directly possible to evaluate these terms as a result 314. Understood? Now, if it is being get evaluated at the compile time only, then during the runtime there is a no need to evaluate this again and again. Understood? So same thing I have mentioned here, and this is called as a constant propagation. Means you are propagating this constant, you are using this constant in this formula here only, and you are doing the evaluation during the compile time. So same thing I have mentioned. If some variable has been assigned constant value, then it replaces that variable with its constant value in the further program during the compilation. So the condition now, if there is some variable, yes, there is a variable, yes, there is a pi variable radius having the constant value. So you can replace this variable in this formula with this constant values. Now one important condition is there for the constant propagation. Now value of the pi will never going to be changed, but this variable you have mentioned radius equal to 10. Now suppose this is being evaluated here as a 314, but somewhere in the program, if the radius, again you declare the radius with the another value, that will be suppose 15, then at that time this propagation of 10 will not happen in the next formula. if this formula is also written somewhere in next part of the program. So that time this 10 will not be utilized, but 15 will be utilized. Understood? If this, that is the reason here I have mentioned the condition for the constant propagation. Condition is what? The condition is that the value of variable must not get changed, must not get altered in between. In between in the sense, suppose you have written this formula of area of circle at the, now here you have declared the pi 3.14. Here we have declared the radius equal to 10, and here you have declared, here you have written the formula area of circle equal to pi into r into r. Okay. Now here you are this 3.14 and this value of radius will be get utilized. Understood? But now see, in the next part of program, again you declare the radius as a 11, and in now this is your formula present at the line number 10, for example, and again you have written the formula at the line number 15 to calculate the area of circle. Understood? Now here constant propagation will not happen here related with the radius now, because here after declaring this as a 10, again you have declared it as a 11. So 11 will be get utilized, not the 10 here. Understood? So when the constant propagation can get success, only when the value of variable should not get changed throughout the program. Means value of the radius should not get changed throughout the program. That time only you can replace this variable with this radius, and that time the constant propagation will consider as a successful. So that is the same thing I have mentioned. So if this thing is being satisfied, then constant propagation as a part of the compile time evaluation can be performed. So constant propagation is nothing but what? If there is some variable has been assigned some constant value, then replacing that variable with its constant value in the further program during the compilation, that is called as a constant propagation. So this technique substitute the value of variable pi and the radius at the compile time only instead of runtime, and it then evaluate the expression like this 3.14 as a into 10 into 10, and the expression is then replaced with the result 314. So this expression will be replaced with the value 314. So this is also saving the time at the runtime. So if this computation is done, if the condition is satisfied, then this computation can be done at the compile time only. And if this is being done at the compile time, no need to put the extra effort, no need to do the processing of these things when during the runtime. Understood? So this is also making our program faster because of the constant propagation, and that is called as a compile time evaluation. So compile time evaluation is the most important technique. We usually compiler does this kind of code optimization on our program. Understood? So that is the first technique of code optimization, that is a compile time evaluation, where we make the changes in the program, or we make the evaluation of the program, that is the intermediate code, and without doing that at the runtime if it is possible. Now when it can be possible, it can be possible if the constant folding can be done, and it can be possible if the constant propagation can be done. Okay. Now let's see the next important technique in the code optimization, that is the common sub expression elimination. Okay. Now first, in order to understand what exactly mean by the common sub expression elimination. Okay. Now let's understand what do you mean by the common sub expression first. The expression that has been already computed before and appears again in the code for computation, that is called as a common sub expression. So that is also considered as the redundant code also, or redundant expression also. What? The expression that has already been computed before and appear again in the next part of the code, and appear again in the code for computation, that is also called as a common sub expression, or that is called as a redundant expression. Now let's see that in this example. Now here you are written s1 equal to 4 into I, s2 equal to, consider this is your part of your program, s2 equal to a of s1, s3 equal to 4 into j, s4 equal to 4 into I. Now this is the common sub expression. What? This is the common sub expression or redundant expression, because see the definition, the expression that has already been computed before, s4 equal to 4 into I already computed here, and appear again in the code for computation. Now this is appear again in the code for computation, that is the reason this is called as a common sub expression or the redundant expression. So elimination of such kind of expression from your intermediate code, that is called as a code optimization technique as a common sub expression elimination, and this is the most popular and the famous code optimization technique applied by the code optimizer in the compiler. Okay. So as the name suggests, it involves the elimination of the common sub expressions. Like here I have shown you. The redundant expression are eliminated to avoid their recomputation. This is already being computed. Why there is a need? Why the computation need to be done again? So doing the computation again is not making any sense. Only it will consume the space and the time. Understood? So removing such kind of a thing from your code, that is called as a common sub expression elimination as a code optimization technique. Okay. So the already computed result is used in the further program whenever required. So whenever you require these things, now here you can see, here you are requiring the S4. Okay. Now instead of using the S4 here, you can utilize the S1 because result of S4 and the S1 is same. So these kind of changes when we do in this original code, then we get the optimized code. So this is your code before the optimization and this is the code after the optimization. Now what changes we have done? Let's see. So this is we have written as it is. Okay. Then S2 equal to A of S1, S2 equal to A of S1. This is also as it is, we can write. Then S3 equal to 4 into J. That is also you can write as it is. And S4 equal to S4 equal to 4 into I. Now this is the redundant. There is no need to write it again. So this is being eliminated here. And directly we have written S5 equal to N and S6 equal to B of S1 plus B of, sorry, S6 equal to B of S1 plus S5. Now instead of S4, because we have eliminated this, you cannot write S4 again here. So instead of that, you write S1. Understood? Instead of that, compiler will do what? Instead of compiler will instead of writing this S4 S1 equal to 4 into I and S4 equal to S1 equal to 4 into I and S4 equal to 4 into I two times, compiler will simply write it once. Okay. And here instead of using the S4, compiler will replace it with the S1. So your meaning of the program will remain same, the output will remain same. Only you are doing some kind of rearrangement within a code without affecting the final meaning of the code. But this rearrangement reducing your program. So here are how many instructions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here are only the 5. Here are the 6 instruction. Here are the 5. So space gets saved, time gets saved, and this is nothing but the consider as one of the major improvement within a code as a part of the code optimization. Okay, I hope all of you have got this. Now next code optimization technique is called as a code movement. Now what exactly this? Now we'll go to the theory after discussing the example first. Now this is the code before the optimization and this is the code after the optimization. What is the code you have written? Let's see. For loop you have taken int j of 0, j is less than n, j plus plus, and within a loop what you have written x equal to y plus z, a of j equal to 6 into j. Now how many times this code will run? For example, consider to me n की value declare के लिए 10. Consider you have declared the n equal to 10 somewhere. So this loop will run 10 times. Understood? But you can see, is there any operation happening on this x equal to y into z? Is the value of y into z is getting changed here within this loop? No. Even this code will run 10 times. Value of this x will be the remain same. That is the y plus z. But this will going to be processed 10 times, yes or no? But is there any sense processing this 10 times if there is a no change happening in the value of this x equal to y plus z? No. Here there is a no need to execute these 10 times, or there is a no need to process this instruction 10 times. So can you write it in the another way? Still the meaning of this for loop will remain same. Let's see. Yes, if you write it like this, x is equal to y plus z and remaining part as it is, still the meaning of these two fragment of code is same. Only here, in case of this will be going to be processed 10 times. Here it will not be going to be processed 10 times, only one time, and still it is having the same meaning. Understood? So that is called as a code movement, code optimization. So you are doing the code optimization as a code movement because it can be done. If you move this x is equal to y plus z before this loop, then it is not going to affecting on the final output of the code. Understood? Why it is not going to affect? Because here you are not changing the any value of y, z or x. It is remaining same. Understood? So if you move this out of the loop, then your processing time will get reduced. And if your processing time will get reduced, that is considered as a efficiency improvement in the form of time. Understood? So moving the code out of loop, that is considered as a code movement technique without affecting the final output. Okay, so same thing I have mentioned, as the name suggests, it involves the movement of the code. The code present inside the loop is move out of it. The code present inside the loop is move out if it does not matter whether it is present inside or the outside. So it doesn't matter here x is equal to y plus z, whether it is a present inside or present outside, it doesn't matter. But if it is present inside, then it is a wastage of time. So why should not we should write it outside loop? So compile do it and write it outside loop, or such kind of changes can be happen from the programmer itself also. Okay, so such a code unnecessarily get execute again and again. So if you put this within a loop, this code will get execute again and again with each iteration of the loop. So this lead to the wastage of time at a runtime. And that is the reason movement of this can be done outside the loop. This code optimization technique is referred as a code movements. Understood? So that is also one important technique that is considered as a code optimization under the using the code movement. So sometimes it can be happen from the programmer itself. So compiler will do the optimization of this kind of code in this way. Okay, by doing the movement of code. Fourth important technique is the dead code elimination. This is also the important optimization. Now optimization has to be done from the compiler because of some of the mistakes that might be happen from the programmer in the rearrangement of the code. Okay, so let's see the example first and then we'll see the theory. So this is the code before the optimization. What is the code? I equal to 0. If I equal to 1, here assignment of I to the 0 to the I. Then here if I equal to 1, then do this operation. What operation? A equal to x plus 5. Okay. Now you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 lines of code is reduced to the one line of code one. Why? Because in this code, this code is considered as a dead code. What this code is considered as a dead code. Why? Because what is the condition returned if I equal to 1? Now I is never going to be equal to 1 because here is I is initialized to 0. Understood? So this part we are never going to be executed. Understood? But it is consuming the space within a program. Yes or no? It is consuming the space within a program. So can it be eliminated? Yes, without affecting the final out of the program. Yes, it can be eliminated. And that is the reason this code is considered as a dead code. And that is being, after getting elimination, we get the code optimization like this, only the I equal to 0. Because of this condition, this whole part is not going to execute. If it is not going to execute, then it is considered as a dead code. Understood? So same thing I have mentioned. As the name suggests, it involves eliminating the dead code. The statement of the code which either never execute or unreachable or their output is never used are eliminated. So which code we can code the dead code? The code which is never going to be executed, or the code which is unreachable, that code is considered as a dead code. And when the compiler apply the dead code elimination, then that is considered as one of the code optimization technique. So this is the fourth technique, that is the dead code elimination. And let's see the last one, that is the strength reduction technique. Okay. Now, as the name suggests, it involves the reducing the strength of expression. Now, first you need to understand what do you mean by the strength of expression. Now, strength of expression depends on strength of the operator which is used in that expression. Means what? Plus operator is having the less strength as compared with the multiplication. Okay. And subtraction is having the less strength as compared with the division. Understood? Less strength, more strength means what? If in your program more strength operators are utilized, then more processing time can be required. If in your program less strength operator is being utilized, then you require the time required to process that code will be the less. Understood? So if in the certain expression high strength operator are present, it if it is possible to replace it with the low strength operator, then that is considered as a code optimization using the technique as a strength reduction. So let's see, this technique replaces the expensive and costly operators. Now, which are the expensive and the costly operators as compared with the plus and minus? So as compared with the plus and minus, star and division operators are the expensive and the costly operators. So replacing the expensive and the costly operators with the less expensive and the less cost operator, that is called as a strength reduction. Here I have written, this is the technique which replaces the expensive and the costly operator with simple and the cheaper one. Means replacing the plus with the star, sorry, replacing the uh, yes, replacing the plus operator on the place of star operator and replacing the subtractor operator at the place of the division operator. Let's see in the example. So this is the consider code you have written in your program, that is b equal to a into 2. So can we write it the different way with the less strength operator? Yes, it can be written like this, b equal to a plus a. So meaning of this and the meaning of this is the still same. Only what you have done, you have replaced the expensive and the costly operators with the less expensive and the less cost operator, but the meaning is same. So this is called as a strength reduction. That is what, replacing the expensive and the costly operator with less expensive and the less costly operator. That is called as a code optimization without affecting the final meaning of the program. So in this, what you have done, the expression a into 2 is replaced with the expression a plus a. So this is because the cost of multiplication operator is higher than cost of addition operators, and that is called as a strength reduction. This can be done only if it is possible, and it can be done by the compiler, and this all the technique is considered as a code optimization technique. So these techniques, all the techniques with the example we have seen, I hope all of you understood. If you have any doubt, you can comment in the comment section. I will definitely answer all your doubts. Thank you all of you.